Hal? We need to talk, preferably in private. I don't know if you want the others to hear what I've got to say.
Kyle, what's wrong?
I've thought about this for quite some time. I always had this theory, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. But recently I had conversations with Oliver Queen, with Guy and John, and they confirmed my suspicions.
Your what? What are you talking about?
My theory. Whew. Look, I wasn't there when Coast City was destroyed. I was still in L.A. Mom called me and told me that Coast City was destroyed. I couldn't believe it. A whole city? So I turned on the TV and it was on every channel. 9/11 all over again. I felt powerless.
If only I had been there that day, I could have saved so many people.
I realized that this must have been how you felt. Kneeling in all that rubble that used to be Coast City, you probably swore that you could make everything right again. I'm thinking that you first used your ring. You rebuilt the city, its inhabitants, everything. Knowing the Guardians, they most likely didn't like what you did. They probably claimed you were using the ring for personal matters. But how was it personal when... how many people lived in Coast City? 6 million?
7.
How could it be personal when 7 million people died?
Kyle, we've been through all of that. You saw it. Parallax had taken control of me. I was possessed. I wasn't in control. I have trouble remembering most of it now.
Like I said, this is just a theory. Let me finish, then I'll hear your side of the story. Deal?
Deal.
Okay, back then, you were considered the best Green Lantern, the Guardian's favorite.
You really had a conversation with Guy, didn't you?
I know how it is when you're the Guardian's darling. I know how it is when they trust you. So here's my big guess. They had told you of Ion. I don't know when, maybe years before, maybe just a few weeks. Doesn't matter. With the power of the Ion, you could recreate everything. Now I have wielded the Ion power twice. It was powerful, enough to create colorful constructs. Ring constructs that weren't limited to a ring charge. Ring constructs that could move and think independently of me. The Ion was powerful enough to change history, but the Guardians kept Ion in the central power battery, guarded with multiple seals and keys. In fact, you'd need several Green Lantern rings to open his cage and get past the other precautions. Well, your strategy was obvious. Get the power of Ion at all costs, whatever collateral damage might be done, including the killing of fellow Green Lantern officers. You could take it back once you had the Ion power, so you could cut loose without a guilty conscience. I imagine it must have been cathartic in a way, blasting the Guardians away, destroying the battery, killing Sinestro.
You mistake me for a sick man, a criminal, the kind we fight.
But why stop with Coast City? You finally had the means to undo that anti-monitor crisis. Barry Allen's death, Guy's personality change. Come to think of it, it all went downhill for you. You know, on my travels with Jason and Donna, I found out that there had been a multiverse before ours. And it was wiped out of the anti-monitor crisis. All the worlds fused together. Now I don't remember my Earth, Earth 8, but I was told that Doomsday, Bane, Hank Henshaw, all those guys originally came from that Earth. Now your Earth was Earth 1. Now without the anti-monitor crisis, they would have stayed on Earth 8. Without the anti-monitor, they never would have had the means of interacting with your Superman, your Batman, or your Coast City. Clark would have never died. Bruce's back would have never been broken. And Coast City would have never been destroyed. I don't know if you wanted to restore the old multiverse, or if you wanted to create a new one, with Barbara Gordon as Batgirl again. People would remember Triumph. Founding member of the League. Barry would be back. Coast City would stand again.
I don't see where you're going with this.
Okay, from your point of view, it all made sense. In order to make it right, you had to tear everything down. But people would have died. And I don't care if you resurrect them later, killing is still wrong. That's why we fought you, and that's why we won. Because we had the Spectre on our side, and he was more powerful than you. Well, then Ollie defeated you with his arrow, and the two of us teleported to Oa. I blew Oa up. The next time I saw you, you wanted my ring. But it didn't make sense. Either you gave up on your plan to turn back time, but then you must have realized that you killed Kilowog and the others. Or were you still trying to make things right? But why would you need your old ring for that? And attacking your old Justice League pals? Besides, if you were really taken over by Parallax, why would he care for your old ring? You see, none of it added up. Especially when you merged with Ganthet in the end, and he reappeared later as if nothing had been. It just didn't seem like you. Neither did it seem like the Parallax I got to know during this time thing. The next 2 times I met you, we switched identities and traveled back to the Silver Surfer's universe. And you were back in fixing mode, which I couldn't approve, but at least understand. And what was it with Ganthet? I tried asking him later, but you know how he was. Anyway, the ring can't have been the reason you came back. Why were you there? What were you after? Was it Ganthet? And if it was, what happened to him after you absorbed him? Bear with me, I'm not done yet. The next step was reigniting the sun. Little things first, like resurrecting Oliver Queen and curing John's paralysis, and then the huge sacrifice for all of us. But here's the thing. If you used up all the ion power to light the sun, why was it still there to merge with the Oblivion construct in me? If you didn't use up all the energy to light up the sun, then why did you have to die? I don't know, it just feels fake, rehearsed. Just like when you came to get your ring back. After that, we pulled you out of Purgatory to merge with the Spectre, didn't we? And the Spectre was even more powerful than Ion. And power was what you wanted to bring back the multiverse in Coast City with. But if you didn't spend all of your energy to bring back the sun, and we know there was energy left because I took it later, then why were you in Purgatory in the first place? So my theory is this. When you set things up so it seemed like you sacrificed your life to save the Earth, when in reality, all you did was reignite the sun and kill yourself. I'm guessing the leftover energy was a safety net, in case you couldn't find a way back like Clark did. Or was it there to manipulate Corrigan into giving up the Spectre? It seems like a huge coincidence that you were looking for power. The Spectre was the only thing more powerful than you, and you end up getting his power. And if Corrigan was bonded to the Spectre for almost a century, wouldn't he have known that without him keeping it in check, the Spectre would start a rampage? It seems unreasonable of him to let it loose.
Kyle, I don't know how to say this best, but either you're extremely paranoid or you think you're incredibly funny. Right now, I don't know which one it is.
I'm almost done, Hal.